Hello friends, this is going to be a lecture series on outcome-based education. We'll be dealing with a whole lot of things, right from the introduction to the outcome attainment calculations. Every single aspect is going to be covered. And this lecture series is going to be really informative, and we all will have a common platform on which we are going to discuss these things, wherein I'll be coming live on my channel and we can discuss the whole lot of things and bring things to a common platform, and let us try to put in efforts to bring in the standardization in outcome based education. Hello friends, today we'll discuss about a topic which has been grossly discussed in the education industry, but then there hasn't been any conclusive decision or any sort of standardization that has taken place. That is outcome based education. Now, to understand the outcome based education, we need to understand what is output based education and then move on to what is the purpose behind coming up with outcome based education. Now, let us see what is output based education. When we say output based education, we are talking about two students who are going to be considered equivalent just because both of them have similar percentages, or a student with a higher percentage is considered to be more competent than a person with a lower percentage. For example, let us take two students. Student number one, who is exceptionally good with the programming skills, and student number two, who is exceptionally good with his managerial skills. Now say both of these students are engineering students. Now let us presume we have 50 subjects which both of these students study. Student 1, being exceptionally good with programming skills, studies say about 30 odd subjects. For ease of calculations, let's say 30 subjects which are programming oriented and 10 subjects which are managerial skills oriented. The same happens with student 2. No, the student 1 who was exceptionally good with the programming skills scores 80% of the marks in all the programming subjects, whereas the student 2 who is good with his managerial skills scores only about 50% of the marks in the programming subjects, whereas the student 2 scores 80% of the marks in the managerial courses, whereas student 1 scores only 50% of the marks in the managerial courses. Now what happens in this particular scenario? Student number 1 gets 30 subjects into 80 marks. So the total turns out to be 30 into 80, that is 2400 marks. Plus he has got the managerial courses wherein he scores 50% of the marks. So 10 into 50 makes it 500. So 2400 plus 500 makes it 2900. Let us presume that both the students get about 500 marks in the remaining 10 courses that they are going to study. Now what happens in this particular scenario? 2400 marks from the programming courses, 500 from the managerial courses, and say 500 from the remaining courses. So student 1 ends up with 3400 marks. Now what happens with student 2? Student 2 studies 30 subjects which are programming oriented, gets 50% of the marks, so he gets 1500 marks there. Plus the managerial skill subjects were only 10, and then he scores 80% there, so 800 marks of that, plus remaining 10 subjects, let us say 500, as equivalent to that of the first student. So what do we end up with? 1500 plus 800 makes it 2300, plus 500 makes it 2800. Now what is the percentage of the marks that student 1 got, and what is the percentage of the marks student 2 got? Student 1 gets 3,400 marks out of 5,000 marks. This, which is close to 68-70%. Wherein the second student got 2,800 marks out of 5,000. Ends up with somewhere around 55-56%. Now, the two students will be judged upon the marks that they have got. This is the problem with output-based education system. Now, say, for example, a company is looking for a good manager, comes down for recruitment. What do they look for? They see, okay, this particular student has got 65, 68, 69%, 70%, or maybe more than that. And they call him for the interview, presuming that he has more skills. But unfortunately, he is not skilled enough a manager to handle situations. Whereas the student 2, just because he got only 56% of marks, becomes incompetent in spite of having all the skill sets required to be a good manager, and does not get the opportunity to get the right job that he deserves. This is the problem with the output-based education system. Now, this is where the output-based education system was to be taken out, and we had to come up with outcome-based education system, wherein we are going to judge each and every individual student based on the kind of skill sets that are being developed by the student during the course, during the program that he undergoes. Now, if we give a certificate to every individual student at the completion of the graduation, saying these are the skill sets that he has developed. Student 1 studies 30 programming subjects, gets 80% of the marks there. So, saying programming skills, 30 subjects, 80% of the marks, and managerial skills, 50% of the marks, 10 subjects studied, done. Student 1 gets the certificate. Student 2 gets the certificate stating 30 programming subjects, getting only about 50% of the marks in the programming subjects, and the managerial courses were 10, and he has got 80% there. When the companies come down for recruitment, this certificate that student has will carry a lot of weightage. The student who deserves to be a good manager, has all the skill sets that are existent with him, are the ones who are going to be recruited by the company, and the company eventually has the trust on the institution, and hence it will be able to recruit the right people for the right job. This is the very purpose of outcome-based education. Now, from here on, we'll look at something very important. Now that we know we need to move on with the outcome-based education system, we need to try and understand what is the purpose or how exactly we need to take outcome-based education forward. How do we analyze each and every single student? What are the methodologies that we are going to talk about? What are the pedagogies that we are going to have? And what are the evaluation methodologies that we need to look at? It is not just this that we need to look at. We need to change our evaluation methodologies significantly from a paper-based examination or evaluation to a computer-based, AI-based evaluation system. We'll look at it in the next video. Thank you. Please do comment, like, share, and subscribe. For more related videos, log on to www.dhirendra.digitalsolutions.in. The link is available below.